It is such a great honor to be back. St. Paul's School holds an extra special place in my life, as Mike pointed out. I was born here. I was raised on this campus until I graduated in 1983. As a faculty child, I lived in Conover 20 and Kittredge. As a student, I lived in Brewster, Middle, and Armour. I learned to walk on this campus. I learned to swim at the docks. I learned to skate on the pond. I learned to talk on this campus, both literally and figuratively. This is where I developed critical thinking skills. This is where I learned to construct an argument. This school is part of who I am, how I think, and how I interact with the world. This school is where I got the education that prepared me for Columbia, prepared me for the doctoral program at the University of Pennsylvania, and the career I anticipated in cognitive science. And while I can assure you that it was not my plan as a graduating sixth former, or even frankly in the last year of my doctoral program, this is the place that prepared me for a career as a professional poker player. And that's because this is the place that taught me how to learn. So you can imagine how delighted I was to receive an invitation from Mike Hirschfeld, with whom I overlapped actually, inviting me to come speak at this baccalaureate. First, I knew that this would make my father, Richard Lederer, a faculty member here for over 30 years, so proud. Second, I immediately felt the pride my 17-year-old self just graduated from this school would feel in being invited back to speak. So thank you so much for making 17-year-old me so happy, and the present Danny as well. But immediately following that glow was the terror at the responsibility I was taking on. I may speak in front of very large groups of people for a living, but you would be surprised how nerve-wracking this is for me, because I feel such a great responsibility to you, the graduating form, to say something that might be of some use. Now, some of this anxiety may have stemmed from a story that has become legend in our family, of my father, the only Jewish faculty member at the time, being asked to read from the Torah during a chapel service. Now, my father cannot read Hebrew without the vowels being marked, and when he got up to this lectern, there was not enough light for him to see those markings. Panicking, my father started randomly inserting vowels into what he was reading, sprinkling in a few memorized bits from his bar mitzvah. In other words, he was speaking gibberish. Lucky for him, it was gibberish in a foreign language that very few in America speak, so he managed to slide by and even sound quite solemn. Sadly for me, I must deliver this address in English, so I imagine I will not have nearly the leeway. So hopefully, on with the appropriate vowels in their appropriate places, and I will leave it to you to judge the level of my gibberish. The theme for many graduation speeches is change the world, change the status quo. That ubiquitous theme might make you freak out a little, thinking that my generation has broken the system and the responsibility for fixing it is uniquely on your shoulders. Now, to be fair, we do seem to have done some damage, but every generation breaks something. And I guess that's why change the world is always the theme of graduation speakers. But this theme always reminds me of a Tolstoy quote. And yet, in our world, everybody thinks of changing humanity, and nobody thinks of changing himself. So my challenge to you today, think less about how you might change the world around you, and more about how you might challenge your own status quo. To challenge your personal status quo, your goals, your job, your relationships, your opinions, your beliefs, your mind, is to travel a rocky road. Now, driving metaphor firmly in place, instead of telling you why it's hard to change, I think I can show you with a quick thought experiment. Imagine you're going to the movies and need to be there by 7 p.m. You're heading there with your friends, and you take the usual route. There's an accident on the road that causes bad traffic, so you miss the movie. It's just bad luck, right? How could you have anticipated the accident? Your friends aren't mad at you for making you them late, and you aren't mad at yourself. It was just bad luck. But now suppose instead that you announce to your friends that you are taking a new shortcut to the movies, one you think will get you there much faster. And now, there is also an accident. There is also traffic. And you missed the movies. Doesn't it feel like everyone in that car is mad at you now? Pointing fingers and blaming you for making them miss the movie with your stupid shortcut? And by everybody, I'm including yourself. That fender bender in a million different forms is a reason why people don't want to make changes. If something goes wrong for whatever reason, you'll get blamed if the result was because of forging a new path. If you strayed from the status quo, but not so much if you stayed with the route that you always take. But in either case, the accident was certainly a matter of bad luck. So why do we allow for luck to be the explanation in one case, but not the other? Why is it that when you challenge the status quo by taking a new route, you feel more responsible for the way things turn out? The course you are on feels more agreed upon, more certain. And even if the certainty is that the route you are on is slower, there is comfort in the feeling that you know how things will go. Changing course means trading that feeling of certainty for the possibility that things might turn out much better. It's a decision to take a chance. But when that new path doesn't work out, what follows is, I should have known. Why didn't I see that coming? How could I have been so dumb? And this is why it is so hard for us to change course once we have started down a path. Because we are afraid of the uncertainty. We are afraid of not knowing how things might turn out. We would rather stick with what we know, even when we know that is not making us happy or fulfilled, because it feels like when we change course and things don't work out, it will be our fault. It hurts to do something and have it turn out badly. It hurts to fail. It hurts to get blamed. Sticking with the status quo is our bumper against that hurt. While the uncertainty of a new path might lead to failure, it is also that same uncertainty that allows for breakthroughs, for new discoveries, for success. When I was finishing graduate school, going out for job interviews to become a professor, I got very sick. I'd been struggling with stomach problems, and just as I was going out on the job market, my physical issues got much worse, and I landed in the hospital for 2 weeks and missed all of my job interviews. This meant I had to wait a year to go back out on the job market. At the time, this felt like very bad luck. I felt like I had failed. But it was during that time that I started playing poker. I needed money since time off from school also meant time off from my fellowship that paid the bills. Poker was something I could do in the meantime to earn money until I could get back out on that academic job market. Well, the meantime turned into 20 years as a professional poker player. I won the Tournament of Champions, a World Series of Poker gold bracelet, and the NBC National Heads Up Poker Championship before retiring from the game in 2012. I now look back on that time when I got so sick from the perspective of where I stand now in front of you, and I realize that it wasn't such bad luck after all. I didn't fail. I just took an unexpected path. I spent my life as a professional poker player dealing with uncertainty. The uncertainty of not knowing your opponent's cards. The uncertainty of the deal. I had to make peace with the possibility I might have the best hand, play it well, and still lose. And I had to make peace with the idea that I might have the worst hand, play it poorly, and still win. What I learned from that left turn I took from academics to poker is that how the future will turn out is always uncertain. There are always more possible ways that the future might unfold than the one that actually does unfold. The decisions you make in your life will determine the set of possible outcomes. But which of those possibilities actually happens is determined by luck. Now, I imagine it sounds somewhat nihilistic, telling you in a baccalaureate speech that luck will have a strong influence on the way that your lives turn out, that your lives are not solely determined by your grit and your hard work. But here's the thing, this is actually really good news. It means the future is not set. The future contains a big range of possibilities, many of which you can't even imagine from where you are sitting right now. I certainly never imagined as a graduating sixth former that I would become a professional poker player. Once we recognize that we can't be certain of how the future will turn out, it frees us to make well-informed chances and make well-informed choices. And yes, those chances might end in failure, but they might end in the most spectacular successes, successes that you would never be possible if you didn't challenge yourself to take a new route. How your life turns out is the sum of exactly two things: the quality of the decisions you make and luck. So far, I've talked a lot about getting comfortable with the influence of luck, the part you can't control. Now I just want to take a brief moment to talk about the part of the equation you can control, the quality of the decisions you make. Even if the luck of the deal or the cards hidden from view might fool with the end result, the decisions you make will determine what is possible for you. But your decisions will only be as good as the beliefs that inform those decisions. Just as in poker, where the cards are hidden from view, in life, there is hidden information. So just like in poker, the information on which our beliefs are constructed is incomplete. We can't know everything there is to know. We can't read everything and explore everything that is relevant to any opinion we might hold. And because of this, just as there is uncertainty in the way the future unfolds, there is also uncertainty in the beliefs that we hold. There have always been things we believed were true and later found out were not. I'll start with a couple of easy ones. People once believed that the sun revolved around the earth and that the earth was flat, although I hear that one's making a bit of a revival. I don't know, there seems to be some flat earthers out there now, but those were consensus opinions that we now know are not true. Only by great thinkers challenging those status quo beliefs did those status quo beliefs change. And we are all better off for those beliefs having been updated through those challenges. The status quo is not just about the path we are taking, but also about the beliefs that we hold. So challenge your beliefs. It is another important way to challenge your own status quo. If you view the things you believe as certain, as crystallized, you will not be open-minded to new information. After all, if you already know the answer, why would you need to learn anything new? Certainty is the way to close-mindedness. Certainty is the way to still believing that the sun revolves around the earth. Beliefs are best viewed as a work in progress. When we think of our beliefs as under construction, we become hungry for information. We want to fill in the gaps. We look for clues that things are changing around us. We question where information comes from. And the best way to do this is to approach the world asking not, why am I right? But rather, why am I wrong? You already know why you are right. What is often hidden from view is why you might be wrong, why you believe that the earth is flat when it was actually round. Be hungry for opposing opinions, because those are the opinions that have the most to teach you. Those are the opinions that will challenge your status quo in the best possible way. Engage with people who disagree with you, not with the purpose of changing their minds, but with the purpose of changing your own. Now, I'm not saying you should engage with those who disagree with you with the goal of completely conforming your beliefs to theirs, nor am I saying that you should eagerly try for a full-on reversal of any belief that you hold. What I am saying is engage with an open mind, actively looking for places where you might calibrate your beliefs, places where you can incorporate new information and new points of view, or where you might just better understand the other side's position. Sometimes your beliefs might shift at all, or might even be strengthened, but by engaging with those who disagree, you will better be able to rationally defend your own opinion. By seeking to better understand those on the other side of the issue, you will better understand your side of the issue. And yes, sometimes you will experience a full-on reversal. Sometimes you will learn you were wrong. And those moments are the moments to most celebrate, because when that happens, every decision you make going forward will be better for it. It means you will have realized that the earth is round when you thought it was flat. In this way, your beliefs will be less dictated by the tribe you belong to, political or otherwise, and more by your own rational process. And imagine how much better our public discourse would be if everybody engaged in this way. If you did this, if everybody did this, that is what could actually change the world. So I guess in the end, I'm going with the same theme after all. Go out, form of 2018, and change the world. I'm just suggesting that the best way to accomplish this might be by challenging your own status quo. And I think this is what Tolstoy meant when he said, everybody thinks of changing humanity, and nobody thinks of changing himself. Thank you, and congratulations to the Forum of 2018.